Boom. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. We are live on a Thursday night. We are ready for some TNA Impact tonight. Of course, we are the Wrestling for Life Network. We are the channel that just covers more live wrestling than anyone else out there. And folks, I welcome you to the channel. I welcome you to the stream. We're going to have a fun one. Lots going on around the wrestling world, and we're going to get into it all here tonight. So strap in, strap on, grab your snacks, grab your feel good. Let's go! Ding, ding, ding. We're live and back at it again, folks. Like I said, we are the Wrestling for Life Network. We are the channel that just covers more live wrestling than anyone else out there. And we are happy to be back at it again. I thank everyone for joining us on this wonderful Thursday night. I hope everyone out there is doing well. You put it, all the effort in. We got through the week. Now we got Friday. Friday is upon us. So we're going to cap off Thursday with a little bit of wrestling first, get into all of it. Impact's looking good tonight. Lots to cover. The chapeau that runs the show will be here with us as well. It's going to be a fun one. So make sure you get in that chat, hit like, hit subscribe. But I will remind you, I am Mr. Every Night KJ White, the Iron Man of YouTube, and that is Big Nick.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Wrestling for Life Network proudly brings to you its YouTube tag stream champions of the world, the Every Night Delight KJ White, and I am Big Nick, and I at least promise to be more entertaining than Mercedes Monet on commentary.
What do you mean? But we'll get into that. We'll talk some AEW. We'll talk some Dynamite, mixed reviews. I see people pumping in the ratings on the chat. We'll talk all about that. But, of course, like I said, we got Impact tonight. Lots going on. Macklin, Sabin. We're going to hear from Josh Alexander. There's a 8-4-1 match.
Yes, I will explain this because I even had to look it up to make this make sense in my brain. So it's initially an 8-woman tag match. So right now it's advertised as Danny Luna, Zaya Brookside, Ash by Elegance, and Rosemary taking on Havoc, Masha Slamovich, Alicia Edwards, and Jody Threat. Those two teams, whichever team wins now then turns into a fatal four-way, and whichever one wins the fatal four-way then is the number one contender to take on Jordan Grace.
Yes.
Anthony, I expect you to show up here in pencil and notepad in hand.
Keeping track of all of it. But right. No, we've done this match before. It's kind of unique to TNA. Don't really see a lot of other companies doing it. I like the format. It's interesting, right? Like at one point you're trying to help your team win, and then now you're on your own. So it's an interesting dynamic.
Well, and especially with how the teams are set up, I just noticed even when I was reading them off. So you've got tag team partner versus tag team partner. You've got Rosemary on one side. You've got Jessica Havoc on the other. You've got Danny Luna on one side. You've got Jody Threat on the other.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I mean, yeah, it's a nice setup. Should be a fun night. But, yes, Dynamite last night. A very interesting show. A little, it was good. I didn't hate it. I wasn't.
You were here. What was your rating? What was your rating? What was the
I give it
census?
6.5. Keep in mind, Raw got a 9 or an 8.5.
Yeah, I gave him a 9. Now, is that on par with what the chat felt? Were you the outlier here? How did that go?
I think a lot of the chat wanted more from the show. And again, it's great that they're setting up a lot of matches, a lot of good matches. But two things are happening. One, the matches have to live up to the hype. If you're only going to be we're the wrestling show, you are going to have to deliver really solid wrestling when you do it. Second, again, I think the void of story, the void of deep things that the fan base really cares about, it lacks. And if that's lacking and the matches aren't quite as good as you hope, you got a big problem.
No, I think there's multiple problems on multiple threats, especially with that picture of the attendance that was there. If it's allegedly an 18 to 20,000 seat arena,
it is
that they only fit 3,500, barely under 4K in there. That picture that was very damning. And
just sorry to interrupt there, Nick, but for people who doubt what they see online at times, that was a picture when everybody was still filing in. Our very own friend Scott from the chat, a rocker of one of our swaggy shirts, definitely took a picture right as Will Ospreay was coming out. And yeah, for everything you see online, that picture says a lot.
Oh, absolutely. And well, even the ratings numbers that came in today are much lower than I expected. And with it being 747, for those who don't know, it's not the airplane, but it is 747. And I was looking at the numbers throughout so far the month of March. They've cracked 800 one time pretty much in the 4 weeks of March.
Yeah, they've been and in a downward trend, right? 801, 800, 747. Now with an average of 747, they're having segments that are NXT-ish numbers. Games with all these big signings. Why are things trending downward for the company, folks?
That's the $1 million question, honestly. I think that's a multi-layered question because, like I said, I was looking. So February 14th, 811,000. 21st, 828. 28th, 822. Then we get into March 6th, 779. March 13th, big business, 798. So not even that far off from the week before. March 20th last week. So in your backyard there in Toronto with the street fight and everything, where they had the 3 hours and they were praising that the Rampage got the biggest numbers it's ever had because it was a carryover from Dynamite.
Yeah.
That's the only one this month that did 800,000 and it did 800,000 flat.
Yeah.
And then we pitfall 60,000 to 747 the week after.
Yeah, it's been a downward spiral. It's not what anybody's hoping for.
And I think that the biggest issue is people turning a blind eye to this, of that people aren't wanting to admit that there's a problem. When you don't admit there's a problem, it just continues to grow and fester.
And you know what? If you want to say that maybe one of the analytics is dated, maybe the ratings aren't what they used to be. We know that. But we also know there's another wrestling show getting, 1.7. We got another show that's getting, 2.5 and up. So we do know there's a wrestling fan base out there that does watch TV still, first and foremost. But if that's your outlier, fine. But then you got to look at your merch sales. You got to look at your ticket sales. Why, the idea of going to smaller venues, we fully endorse that. I mean, again, if you had 3,400 people in a building that fit 5,000, beautiful. The place looks packed. The energy is great. But when you looked at that picture, I mean, if anyone's ever been in a big empty arena, it echoes like a mofo. Like the sound don't carry. We can't tell if the crowd's into it, if they're not into it. And it looks terrible. Optically, it looks brutal.
Last night was the only time that I've started to really question if some of like the Osprey chants on his entrance, the CEO chants are piped in like everybody used to do with Dom.
That CEO chant was piped for sure because was it last night or last week? It stopped dead. It stopped hard on a dime. Like it wasn't that gradual, like the crowd stops cheering.
Right.
It stopped.
And it's amazing to me how 3,500 feels the same as when they did. Now, granted, if you, like you said, if you want to argue the ratings numbers, then you've got to look at the attendance numbers. When they're both bad, you don't have a leg to stand on or a pot to piss in.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say with the Boston numbers and everything, they were big numbers, big business, all that. The chants still sounded the same that they did with their 3,500 and a 20,000 seat arena and everything. They need to do smaller venues. We've said this for a year plus now, I feel.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. I will quickly remind everyone out there, we will be covering Impact Wrestling on YouTube tonight. So make sure you don't go anywhere. No spoilers as well. And I do know there's other things going on. We might peek at it. But yeah, that show is starting in a few minutes. So we will get to that. But yeah, man, I mean, again, if you are going to be the company that says, well, we're the real pro wrestling, we give you banger matches, the matches have to be bangers. Like when you have your EVPs in the ring and they're not even sure who the legal man is, when you're getting botch heavy matches, when you're getting marquee match like a Shibata, poor Shibata, your Ring of Honor Pure champion, I believe he is, and this man's losing to everybody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have to give a shit about Ring of Honor. We already discussed this, and we've been through this, and we damn near forgot that Supercard of Honor was coming up. I've seen only maybe 2, maybe 3 matches advertised for the whole fucking card, and it's happening next week.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's tough. And I mean, same thing. Bennett and Taven, your Ring of Honor tag champs, they taken out. It doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't make sense. But at some point, like, I feel like Tony Khan is the conductor of the orchestra on the Titanic as it's going down. Like, everything's fine. Da, 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 da.
But yeah, that's the thing is are they blissfully ignorant, or do they know it and just don't know how to fix it? Because you can have really great matches.
Yeah.
And that's great to the niche audience. That's great to us. That's great to the IWC, that term. That's great for what we do and everything like that, because we know these guys. We watch wrestling. We watch all the wrestling. For a casual viewer and everything, if you want to continue to grow your audience, you need something that's going to get them to bite and get them involved and get them interested outside of just, well, it's really good wrestling. Well, if I don't give a shit about wrestling and I want to be sold on characters and stories and drama and everything like that, AEW ain't the place for you, and their fans will tell you to piss off.
But if you tune in and you're like, oh, I heard this, like, you know, this show puts on really good matches, and that opening match is Shibata, Ospreay, nobody's selling anything, it's a bit of a slower pace, it makes it a bit of a rougher ride, right? Like, you're not really living up to any of the hype.
Yeah, like that. I liked a good chunk of that match. I know that there was parts of that were really kind of just sell something here, boys. Like, maybe this isn't, you know, to the Tokyo Dome here. I know we're going off of 7 years of history that they kept trying to mention, like that seems super relevant. But yeah, it's, and then I think it's also that you start off with at times your best thing and then just trail off towards the back end.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, well, last night Takeshita and Swerve should have been outstanding, but we got about a minute left. We're going to say hello to the chat, say hello to all the people. And as we say hello to all the people, we are going to say goodbye and hello all at the same time.
What is
there
up?
We go.
What is up?
How you doing, sir? How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing good, And yeah, as KJ was mentioning, I'll say a really fast run through this list of the chat because the chat's already been insane so far. So we'll remind everybody, Impact's about to kick off. Hi, Anthony. And also we do have the super chats, the super stickers as well. So you can make sure we get to your comments and we don't miss it and everything, because we've already had 100,000 plus comments, I feel.
Oh, that's a lot.
The Baby Man Gaming, what up? Dro, what up? A-Jobson, what up? Steve Money, what up? Robert, what up? Bash, what up? Boston, what up? Eric, what up? Mana, what up? Like I said, I'm trying to be as fast as humanly possible. Rocco, what up? What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? We got Tony Cantana. We got Mike
That's
Rouse.
your name.
We got everybody. There we go. I'll try and keep it short. Robert's out there just still wearing the flag for AW. But how are you feeling, sir, for Thursday night Impact tonight?
Seems like we got a pretty good card. I'm excited for the 8-4-1 match, which starts off as an 8 knockouts tag team match. The winning team competes in a fatal 4-way match, and then the winner becomes the #1 contender to Jordan Grace's title at Rebellion. The first one was epic. I really enjoyed the concept, so I'm expecting nothing less here with the knockouts. Now, I think we got Steve Macklin versus Chris Sabin tonight, and I think that'd be great. And we hear from Josh Alexander with all the comments from Alex Hammerstone last week. I'm interested to see and hear what Josh Alexander has to say. So we got a pretty decent card tonight.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and plus we're in the 2300 arena. This is their start of their tapings. Again, no spoilers, from Philadelphia. So we've also got the ECW legend Rhino taking on Mustafa Ali. And we mentioned the 8-4-1 match earlier, and I said I was expecting you to show up with pencil and notebook in hand and everything, having to take notes here and all that.
It's an interesting concept, but I do know this 8-4-1 match is a little interesting because I think it's opposing partners on each team. So it's like Jody Thread is on one side, Danny Luna is on the other, things of that sort. So this one is more interesting where you kind of have to have like a pen and a pad to kind of keep track of what's going on.
Right. Well, you've got to have those interlocking stories, and it does, one partner help the other partner, even though they're on the other team or anything like that, because you've got like Havoc and Rosemary on opposing sides.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's an interesting dynamic to see how you know, what will happen. Like, will you try to help your partner even though you shouldn't be helping your partner? It's interesting. And I didn't realize that until today when I was looking at the card. I was like, oh, there's opposing sides on each. So I'm really excited for this tonight.
There you go. And well, one last thing is I've got the show kicking off right now. I've got their entrance music playing and everything. With this being supposedly, allegedly, when the Motor City Machine Guns are officially completely wrapping up with TNA, do you think Chris Sabin goes under or goes over Steve Macklin? I know early prediction, but got to know.
I think he goes under. I think Steve Macklin takes the victory.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's been a lot of interesting news coming out of TNA the past, like 5 days?
Well, even just today, they signed top dollar AJ Francis.
They signed top dollar, and then they re-signed Ace Austin. There were rumors this week of Killer Kelly leaving TNA, but those were debunked by, I think, Fightful Select. So they're not Killer Kelly is not leaving, but I believe she is taking time off.
Yes.
Yeah. And we got the Motor City Machine Guns finishing up with TNA. So it was a lot of news that came out this week.
Right. Well, right now we're kicking it off with the 8-4-1 match. We've got, friend of the show out here of George the Iceman out there introducing Ass by Elegance. I feel like I screwed her name up and didn't even intend to. I was trying to be nice.
I think you were trying to be nice. Yeah.
She's out here literally with like is it a bonnet? What the fuck is that called? To where like you had like you haven't seen it outside of like a Mickey Mouse cartoon and everything.
Hair tie? I don't know, like a neck wrap.
Where she's got the wrap, folks, by the way, around her, the bottom underneath her chin and all the way up top. As she's selling that, she's got a broken jaw or broken teeth, or she's got an injury to the face. Pause.
Right. I think she's selling more of this than when her personal concierge slipped on the wine a couple of weeks ago. I think that was that sacrifice.
Right. Well, that's been setting up this whole thing between her and Xia Brookside, which I thought was interesting that they were going to be on the same team. So Ash is unable to compete because of injury. So we're going to have a replacement for Ash here. So if you know the spoilers, don't say anything. If you don't, give us your prediction on who you think is going to replace her in this match. As now
who is left in the division to replace her? Like, I'm trying to think.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to go to Chappelle and I plead the fifth because I might know a thing. Because we got to remember they're in Philadelphia, and this is going to be very much they're showing up and showing out. As we've got Steph D. Lander making her return to TNA as the replacement. So now it's going to be the team of D-Lander, Brookside, Luna, and Rosemary taking on Havoc, Masha, Jody Threat, and Alicia Edwards. Your girl there. Is that your pick for this match, sir?
Alicia Edwards? No. It was actually Ash by Elegance, but since she's not competing, I guess I'm gonna have to go with Danny Luna's team. Maybe we get Danny Luna versus Jordan Grace at Rebellion.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you taking Danny Luna outright? Because I don't know. Is it where we have part of the match now and then we have part of the match later, or are we having the match all in
it's all right now? So the first match, it was a tag team, then it moved to a fatal 4-way, and then we had the winner. So it should be, if they keep it like the first time, all right now.
Fair enough. So folks, let us know who you're taking in this match, whether you're taking I guess right now Team D-Lander or Team Havoc, as those are the two that I've gotten on my screen right now. As I've got Wrestling Revolver Grit Your Teeth pulled up as well. So I've got Havoc on both screens. I've got 4 Havocs on my screen right now.
I forgot Wrestling Revolver was tonight. I'm gonna have to check that out this weekend.
Yeah, just kind of peeking at it right now in the background. Right now, we've got partners going at it here of Havoc and Rosemary. But
what's up, Jason?
Jason, what up? Nick and Anthony, Devon said their sons is done with AEW, heading to NXT. I didn't know his sons were in AEW.
I didn't know he had sons. So
going down the totem pole. Next year, we're gonna have someone say, "I didn't even know who Devon was."
Right.
Hash by elephants, plaid. Motor City Machine Guns versus DIY. Could happen. Could happen
if they trend to the WWE side.
I think they would fit either way in either company. It all depends on how well they want to be booked, I guess, or if they want to just stay independent and do a per appearance thing with TNA or whatever. If they stay with TNA, I think it's great. If they go to AEW, they could have a feud with the Bucks and FTR and all of that. If they go to WWE, it'd probably take an NXT run, but I think it would work.
Yeah, they have kind of a lot of options there. Like you said, they can run that independent scene or go to AEW or WWE. All three of them are good fit for them.
Right.
I would love to see Motor City Machine Guns versus DIY. So I'm gonna take the WWE route, but they have options all over the place.
Hey, I sat there and said that if we get a mystery team that's in that WrestleMania ladder match here, that there's the potential that it could be Motor City Machine Guns. Everybody's wanting, the Dudley Boys or the Hardy Boys. I'm like, what if we got a team that would stay around for a little bit?
Exactly. I would love to see Motor City Machine Guns at WrestleMania. I think that would be awesome.
In Philadelphia, in a ladder match, they wouldn't have to go far.
Right.
Just up the road from where they are right now. So, but so are you taking Danny Luna outright in this match? Because
I'm gonna take Danny Luna outright. So she wins, the tag match and then the fatal 4-way.
I gotta go with TBD. And especially if you want to get that pay-per-view buy, you give me Steph D. Lander versus Jordan Grace, and especially if she maybe has another bit of a run in TNA.
Yeah, that would be a match to see at Rebellion too.
Right. Chopson, what up? Kevin, what up?
What's up, Kevin?
Alexa saying Cardona's sidekick. A little bit. Clay, what up? Alexis taking Slamovich. So yes, folks, again, if you haven't done so, let us know who you're taking for this match. I guess you can pick any of the 8 women, or you can pick a team, and then when it gets to that point, you can do another pick. Damon taking D-Lander for the win. So, Roddy, this is a question for you. Mm-hmm. Saying, TNA any good? I gave this channel a thumbs up anyway. Well, I appreciate you, my guy. I hope you keep giving, the streams the thumbs up. As there was somebody I saw earlier that was saying Wrestling for Life is the channel, is the direction you can watch.
TNA is where it's at. I feel like it's one of the best or consistent wrestling shows on TV. They have their moments, they have their ups and downs, just like any other company. But if you want to see some consistent wrestling matches with some great storytelling, check out TNA. It's where it's at.
And especially they put a focus on their women's division. Obviously, yes. Doing this right here of you have everybody that's out there that wants to, well, there's only X amount of this wrestling on that show, and they only did X amount for this match and everything. All the little statisticians that want to sit there and watch stopwatch when it comes to watching wrestling. TNA provides, the most women's matches, I think, on a weekly basis and does nothing but prominently feature their women's division. Christ, they've been the only company that I really know of that's had, especially modern U.S. wrestling, that's had their, like, a woman as their world heavyweight champion, not just their women's champion, their world heavyweight champion.
No, absolutely. And even when the women are not wrestling, they're featured in multiple segments in one night. I've seen almost a total episode of Impact at that time, all covered by knockouts. Like, I think even the commentator said at one point, the knockouts are running the show tonight. It was, just that's what they do. And Becky Lynch mentioned it this week. So, if Becky Lynch is mentioning it and she's in another company, I think
I was thinking about going there and everything. Christ, 2 of your biggest female signees there, in Naomi and
Danny Luna's
Deanna just came from
but Danny Luna's team just won.
Yeah, no, I was about to get there. Speaking of running the night, Danny Luna so far seemed to be running the night.
Yeah. Masha Slamovich looked a little shocked there too.
She's taking out Danny Luna after this here, so
yeah,
setting up. It looks like Masha versus Danny Luna post this match here, but so far your girl is right now on the outside, as we've got Xia Brookside, Rosemary, and Steph D. Lander going out in the center of the ring.
Yeah. Ooh. As much as I said I wanted Danny Luna to win, I didn't think she was actually going to win.
I mean, she's already picked up one pinfall, so
yeah,
who's to say she can't pick up two? And I've watching TNA, and especially, has made me much more of a fan of her and her tag team right now with Jody Threat, Spitfire there. Danny Luna is a woman that, you know, definitely probably within 2024, I could see being a Knockouts Women's Champion.
Absolutely. Oh, Xia Brookside just looks like clocked Ash by Elegance.
Just having a meltdown. She hit her on the boo-boo. The no-no spot. Pause. Okay, Nick, we need a judgment call here. Nick, Anthony, KJ. Well, KJ, I guess, is the tiebreaker in case we can't reach a decision. Can you change your pick in the middle of a match? If it's a 3 stages match, I'll give you that. You can have that.
I was just about to say the same thing.
Oh, you're out of here.
I think we're setting up for Ash versus Xia Brookside at Rebellion.
Oh, I think that's been the plan for the longest time.
Yeah.
I think that's been every bit since she's gotten here. Now, I will ask here as she makes her long way up the entrance ramp. Thoughts on her calling out Tiffany Stratton, my girl, Tiffany Stratton. So you know how I'm going to align here about stealing moves, stealing gimmicks, basically just being, you know, a carbon copy wrestler instead of an individual.
I guess I didn't really have initial thoughts about it. Who is that? Is that
you later 3? That was quick as shit. So,
whoa.
Masha took out Danny, just she's done. Then, did Cardona get involved?
That was Cardona. I almost called him Zack Ryder.
Woo, you know it.
Came to my mind. Wow. Where you had the correct pick.
I cheated, but I missed it. So, Cardona, you almost had me calling him Ryder. Came in and he hit the Rough Rider. I'm gonna at least call it the Rough Rider on Rosemary. So that's how she ended up. So D-Laner picked up the win here after it seemed like it really went from a 4-way to a singles match really quick.
It really did. Wow.
So your winner and your new #1 contender for the Knockouts Women's Championship is Steph D-Lander, as we're showing the hype up or the fallout, from Macklin and the Rascals. So the setup for this match between Sabin and Macklin is a shoulder bump.
I think so.
This reminds me of, do you remember WWE at one point, Attitude Era-ish, had a feud between Kane and Chris Jericho because of coffee, because Kane had a cup of coffee and Chris Jericho bumped him and it spilled on Kane. And that
I do not remember that.
Yeah, I remember that was back when Kane could talk outside of the little thing, and he's like, "You think this is about coffee?" It was terrible, terrible.
I guess we can go back, to your question, because we had a lot happen in those 10 minutes. So Ash by Elegance, she said that Tiff steals moves and gimmicks and all that stuff. I guess I didn't really have an opinion until right before I got on, and Ash by Elegance actually made a tweet and said it was a joke. It was her being in character. She said, if you know my character, it was a joke. If you know me outside of the ring and not my character, I have high respect for Tiffany. So I think people just kind of ran with it and kind of had their own thoughts to it, and that's what the IWC does. But when I first read it, my honest opinion was like, who really cares? I guess. I think that was just me.
No, that's my whole first opinion of it before I even, and I'm glad that I hate on one hand that she had to do that, but I'm also glad that she did because it's so weird of like like MJF can always be an asshole and you just expect that's just MJF. But respectfully, it feels like if it's a female superstar and they're an asshole or they work a heel gimmick or whatever, they have to come out and, oh, I didn't really mean that. I was working in character. It's like, they're supposed to be a heel. It should be a heel the whole time.
Right.
Now that's the blurring lines between kayfabe and shoot of, social media and everything. I initially just thought of it of like, I didn't know of too much of an interaction, even to where when Dana Brooke, Ash by Elegance was in WWE and Tiffany were at the same time. So that's why I was like, the timelines almost don't match up.
Right. So how would she have really this strong opinion about somebody if the timelines doesn't match up?
Right.
Yeah, no, that's a fair, point there. But you're right. I feel like it is a double standard when it comes to the women. If they come out and say something kind of nasty and rude in character, they always have to retract it. And then you have the fans who holler that they want kayfabe back, where you're getting it on social media, but you can't handle it. So,
well, like I said, it is that weird. It's that blurry gray line because you'll have somebody that'll have a moment where it's them being a person versus them being character, and then does he have a character? Is that just him? I don't even know. Well, I think he's actually supposed to be a heel. He's out there sitting there backstage in production and everything with the Bucks. Just thumbs up, guys. Yeah, you be a heel. So you're a heel too, Tony, by proxy. But it's, if she does something in character at times, it feels like almost it has to be super like obvious in character and have like TNA slapped all over it versus them using it to work an angle like NXT did it at one point too, between Lola Vice and Carmen Petrovich there. They use social media to work an angle between the two. WWE manages to do it well, and I think it's that delicate dance a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with you. 100%. And then, if there is truly a working relationship with WWE and TNA, this is a way to kind of get the pot stirring between their superstars.
Chef Curry cooking with the pot. As again, now TNA, we just got too many friends of the channel right now on TNA. That's why we can't be partial on here. But we're getting Diener taking on GYV in a 2-on-1 handicap match. And if you're taking Diener, please check yourself and him into a mental institution, please. Big dog, Tony's heel because he couldn't. Whoa, no, aggressive.
We took a dark turn. We went to.
Not gonna lie, you had me in the first half. EQ, what up, Damien? I'm getting my dream match right now: the Rascals versus GYV. Yeah, so that is on Grit Your Teeth. So again, it's so funny. It's literally like I'm watching you both on two shows at the same time.
At the same time.
At the same damn time. At the same damn time. Anthony, you saw my comment. Jason, I can't remember your comment, but I will remind everybody we do have the super chats, the super stickers, the memberships as well. If you want to make sure we don't miss your comments, as the chat's been hot and heavy tonight. So as we're clearly on the road to WrestleMania here, as we've already seen to where the stage is getting set up to where they've had to potentially delay that because of rain and everything. Are you actually? I haven't talked to you since Monday Night Raw. So as we've got Diener versus JYV, and I think it's very clearly going to be JYV here. How did you feel going into WrestleMania after Monday Night Raw? After Mama Rhodes, look at your boy.
Raw was intense. Raw was intense from start to finish. And I don't think, for me at least, there was really a dull moment. And the ending with The Rock and Cody Rhodes, the only downside about the whole Rock and Cody Rhodes thing, it has nothing to do with the segment. I feel like the Roman Reigns Cody story is just not there. This is all about The Rock and Cody Rhodes. It's about The Rock being the tribal chief, not the final boss. It's The Rock being the tribal chief versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. It has nothing to do with Roman Reigns. And that's the only like downside of Raw. But other than that, like Raw from start to finish, like I haven't sat and watched a 3-hour Raw in full excitement in a very, very long time. And it wasn't even the go home show for WrestleMania.
Fair enough. I agree with you, and I hope you didn't mind me just dancing there and everything, because you were just singing my tune right there, 100%, sir. I even pitched this, I think, to KJ on Tuesday, of if you had everything that The Rock did and you just replaced Roman doing it, does that not really intensify that feud and everything? Now, granted, I think this plays into Roman's winning at Mania. Roman's winning, and we're going to get a singles match between The Rock and Cody at SummerSlam somewhere down the road, whenever we can make it work. We're good. You have Paul Heyman now coming out and doing interviews of, I think we might be into X ratings when it comes to the bloodline. This might be one of those games that goes into that. So I think they're finding new legs to keep this shit going here.
Yeah, absolutely. I full-heartedly believe Roman Reigns is winning now. I think Roman Reigns is going to hold that title at least until SummerSlam. I think this is all about Cody Rhodes and The Rock. And I really believe if they really wanted to push this Roman Reigns and Cody story, Friday Night SmackDown last week should have been the moment. And that whole promo between the two of them fell extremely flat. I wasn't into it. They kept repeating themselves. I didn't care that Seth Rollins and what was it, Jey Uso came out, and then Solo and Jimmy on the Bloodline side. None of that was good. They had their moment last Friday and it didn't happen.
See, I didn't mind that because, and I'm still waiting till we get to like Monday, or till we get to this Friday, which will be here live tomorrow for Friday Night SmackDown. Monday, the go home show, which I feel like almost last week might have actually been the go home show. I'm waiting, and I wish I had that moment. Sorry, GYV picked up the clear win over Diener there, but this is almost what I would wish we would get, because this had a very Attitude Era feel. This from top to bottom. This was 3 hours of Monday Night Raw that was fantastic. Had a few lows, had a few missteps and everything, but even the Andrade match was good. The Ricochet match was good. It bookend really nicely with The Rock surprisingly shows up, and then you end it with that. Christ, the weather played into it. It happened to be raining and everything. But I really do think that they could have done something better with Roman Reigns with all of this. Granted, I wish that we now, and I hope that we end Raw or SmackDown go home show, if we could have JR there. With the battle lines have been drawn, and we've just got, Seth Rollins, Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes, all of that going at Dwayne, Roman. We even get Drew, because Drew was seen talking to Paul and everything like that. This just feels all super intertwined and all super chaotic.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts to this, and there's not a clear there's nothing clear in it. And that's what I like. I didn't even catch the Drew McIntyre talking to Paul Heyman until after SmackDown, after Raw ended. I didn't even catch that, and I was like, wait a minute, what is he talking to Paul Heyman about? I don't know. There was a lot happening on Raw. It was very, very difficult to keep up because it was like moving so fast. But yeah, this was the best Raw in a very, very long time. I just really wish Roman was more involved in this storyline. That's the downfall right now.
Now I will pitch you this, as we just had, Nick Nemeth and Alex Shelley agreeing. Were they agreeing to a match there, shaking hands backstage?
They are having a match, so I don't think it's tonight. It's in these tapings going up to Rebellion.
Fair enough. So we'll probably end up seeing that probably next week. IWGP champion Nick Nemeth taking on Alex Shelley here. So I've got Josh Alexander coming out Headset less. Headgear less.
Headgear. No headgear.
Right. Oh, I was gonna bring up something, but anyways. Sup, KJ and Nick. Well, you mean Anthony and Nick. I just finished watch TNA Paparazzi where Kevin Nash dissed the X Division. Classic stuff when Jay Lethal come out Macho Man gimmick. Kevin say the X Division. Anthony. Those are words. They were formed into a sentence. I can't decipher the sentence. I feel like I need to like twist it, bop it, slap it, everything to get it to work, but I can't really make it.
I'm guessing there's which I didn't know of. There's a TNA Paparazzi show.
Well, it's going back to old school, like when you had Motor City Machine Guns were hanging out with Big Sexy Kevin Nash there, and they were like the something or whatever paparazzi. It's on their YouTube page, but it's when you had like Dr. Nash, when Kevin Nash wanted to be involved in the X Division shit. There's been some weird moments in TNA history, trust me.
Yeah.
It's where you had him out there talking to like Sanjay Dutt. You're on the juice. I know it. You're on the juice. You're on the stuff.
Well, that's stuff that I am not aware of. So I'm
trust me. Oh, that's the issue and the dance with the devil that TNA has always done, and especially going back to the 3 letters of TNA. And I don't mean to talk over Alexander here, but I will say this quick. That's why it has that lineage of not being so great. TNA doesn't have a good track record.
So we got Josh Alexander
calling out Hammerstone saying, let's do this like it's done in Philadelphia. No, he didn't hear you because you still got your headpiece on.
Right.
He's like, what you say? What? He's out there, what? Oh. Who the hell is this coming out right now? Boston, what up? Tracy Williams. You got anything on Tracy Williams?
I don't know who this person is. They're
Fair
very
enough.
excited on commentary, so I don't know who he is. Doesn't even look familiar. I feel like I need to Google him.
He looks like he would have been in a tag team with Oni Lorcan and Danny Virgil for any old school NXT fans. Because he's just out here, bald head with a beard and, the track jumpsuit outfit on.
So it looks like he wrestled in Ring of Honor. And he was a part of AEW Dark. And that's about all I know of him.
Well, C-Money got us covered. So, we're going out here to the fact checkers of Hot Sauce Tracy Williams, longtime indie vet and Ring of Honor.
Okay.
You can tell how invested Anthony was, and I feel like he needed to wipe his brow as soon as he said Hot Sauce.
It's like, I don't know who he is at all.
Well, again, so it looks like we're getting Tracy Williams versus Josh Alexander. And if you'd like to pick Tracy Williams, please seek medical attention.
It really looks like Josh Alexander is really about to unalive this man. Let's just say.
Well, it's gonna be. This isn't gonna be. This is not gonna be pretty. Meltzer classic, to say the least. Here, respectfully. Josh already trying to get in the ankle lock. But now does Hammerstone get involved here, because Josh was calling out Hammerstone before Tracy Williams showed up? I almost want to keep calling him Tracy Smothers here.
I think he does get involved some shape or form, maybe coming out there dangling the headset, the head guard. I don't know. I think he does get involved in some shape or form.
Alexander for the win. Josh Alexander for the win. Tracy last regularly in NWA. Was it pre or post Kevin Mitchell? Because that seems to be like the linear time of when everyone and everything in NWA fell the fuck off. Pre or post Father James Mitchell's Tony Khan spot? Both men onto the outside here. Holy shit.
Ooh, what kind of, was that like a suplex to the outside?
I was looking away and then just caught the replay or just caught everybody's spot on the outside here. Oh, it's ROH's Tracy Williams.
Well, that clears it up.
Right. that world-renowned, famous 5-star classic bout machine, Tracy Williams.
Right. That clears it up. We know exactly
Josh Alexander.
Who he is. Oh, Josh Alexander. Ooh.
Wait, though. We can't say this too loud for the diehard AEW fans hear us, and they'd be like, you don't know who he is? How dare you say you need to Google someone? Josh right now in control on the outside here.
Firmly in control. I don't think anybody thought anything different.
Right. Dro taking Josh Alexander for the win. Mana and Boston having a whole conversation in the chat by themselves.
I like how they have the setup for the 2300 arena. It's kind of cool with the lights in the back behind the crowd on the camera side or the non-camera side, the hard camera side. I think that's the term I'm looking for.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. Bridge and suplex for a 2 count. Is it? It's almost weird though, because the way that Impact has everything set up, you could tell me this was in any arena. And I do mean any arena. And I would believe it. Like, I know you were giving it props for it being in the 23-inch arena, and I think it shows that TNA can run that and run it for, a couple days actually, and have it packed out. Unlike another company with 3 letters that maybe needs to go to smaller venues.
They're struggling. They're
struggling. They're struggle bus.
I think I was listening to KJ before I jumped on, and he talked about the Titanic, and I started singing the Celine Dion song because that's literally.
See, this is how I'm not gonna be able to help myself later. Yeah. Go ahead. You can do better. You can actually sing.
I can try. You're here. There's nothing I fear. And I know that your heart will go on.
I felt like I was like your anger translator, like you're sign, like I was doing sign language for you singing. I was just in the moment. But yeah.
But that's what AEW seems like a little bit.
It's just more of, to me, it's a sickness of the mind to not realize that there might be a problem, to sit there and just staunchly act like there is no problem. It is fucking Christ. It's on the definition of psychosis, of narcissism, of all of this, of like literally you can admit that there might be a problem. Okay, well, we will fuck your ratings. I don't care. No one who uses a Nielsen box. Who knows of anyone that has any of those anymore? Okay, fine. Everybody uses streaming. Okay. Well, what about live attendance records? Oh, we don't want to talk about that. Oh, well, see, Big Business did great and everything. Cool. You built that up like a mini fucking pay-per-view for a fucking month. You actually put effort into that. Now imagine if you did that every week and maybe just sat there and went to smaller venues instead of trying to do a 20,000 seat venue and do 3,500. Do a 5,000 to 7,000 seat venue, and then everything seems much more alive, seems much more passionate. I know NXT does Full Sail constantly and is really small as far as its seating and everything. But everything seems much more involved and much more intimate and passionate because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can look at even shows like Wrestling Revolver and TNA for an example. Like the smaller crowds
Right.
Make it seem full. And I think going back to a point that I heard before I jumped on about the CEO chants being, piped in.
Right.
I'm not sure if anybody knows, but the CEO chants are in her theme song. So that's probably what we're hearing. Right.
It was speculated. I think I actually speculated that it was. I thought about it. Well, because they sounded the same of like big business. The same thing with like Osprey coming out and everything.
Yeah.
And then you have that, and it's at the same level. Like you can not see that many people reacting for it to be that loud.
Absolutely.
You can visibly see it now.
Yeah, you can visibly see like people are not chanting. So there is a problem. I don't know how they can fix it, but look at what WWE is doing. See that they've had 11 straight sellouts. So that's going back towards January. We are in March and they've had 11 straight sellouts. I don't know. You got to figure out something because I'm not like last night I was watching AEW and halfway through I was so close to going back to finish Victory Road 2022 of TNA. I was that close, but I powered through and finished AEW. This match is going longer than I thought. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine. Absolutely. As we had an ankle lock going as Tracy Williams rolls out of here. But yeah, no, you've got to at least address that there is a problem.
Right.
No defense is exactly that. No defense. So you have to then expect people to point out the issues.
Right.
Everybody wants to. Well, stop giving old man a fucking platform for a podcast to sit there and say this and that and everything. Cool. Well, they're getting a lot of attention and a lot of viewership and a lot of interaction and a lot of people that feel that way. So if a lot of people feel that way, is it them that's the issue or is it you that's the issue?
Right. I feel like this is like a simple decision here, but since everything is kind of ran through Tony Khan, he's writing the scripts and stuff. At this point, I don't think anything would change in the immediate future.
Can I say this as we've still got Josh Alexander and Tracy Williams going on? And I don't mean to, we've halfway been talking other things, halfway been talking TNA. But I want to ask you, I want to ask the audience and everything like that. If Tony Khan wasn't the owner of this company, would he have been fired by now?
That's a good question.
Like, if he was in charge of booking, if he was Triple H, if he was Shawn Michaels, if he was whatever fucking position you want to pause, accusations,
Yeah.
With that and everything. If Tony Khan wasn't the end all be all, the bank account, the general manager, the booker, the owner, the this, the that, the third of AEW, if he had a boss to answer to, would he have been fired by now?
That's a good question. Haven't really thought of it like that, but I could say yes, because the booking is a reflection of attendance. It's also a reflection of the ratings. I would say a solid yes. I think so.
I feel like there would be not like what would he hang his hat on for? If you were doing performance evaluation, we've all been employed and all had to deal with them shitty ass performance evaluations for you to go and get a 15-cent raise and everything. But if we're going through that, so you had allegedly, Tony, the highest attendance for a wrestling event at Wembley. Turns out, not true. I feel like he's sitting down with Maury for whatever reason while I'm reading this, while I'm just doing this in my head. Like, you are not the booker, Tony. As Josh Alexander picks up the 1, 2, 3 that we all knew was coming, just
fourth bite
far too long.
Yeah, I really didn't think this match was going to go that long, but it did.
I mean, if this is a way to where Tracy Williams becomes a member of the TNA roster, I'm kind of here for it. I mean, it's always one of those. It's like you go back to like the 1, 2, 3 Kid Razor Ramon match of that's how you put somebody over, Chris Jericho with Hook. But But yeah, I feel like we're sitting here for too long. Somebody's showing up.
Yeah, this is.
Well, unless are we going to get a sign of respect between Josh Alexander and Tracy Williams? It looks like it. Yeah, well, seems to be what Alexander's doing here.
Yeah.
And they say, hey, this guy pushed me. I don't know what they're trying to chant right now, but it sounds like words. Hey, so sign of respect, shake of the hands, raise of the arm between Josh Alexander and Tracy Williams here. So, hey, as right behind comes Alex Hammerstone. Big belly to back suplex.
There he goes. Taking out both of them. I think their match at Rebellion is a last man standing match, which I think that's perfect for these two.
Oh, that works perfect.
Yeah.
Because that's the final out of 3. Oh, so he was trying to put the headgear on Trace Williams. Couldn't get it. Well, got it and then lost it. And I was setting him up in the torture rack here. But yeah, you've had this trade-off of wins between the two. And now we need the final blow off here.
Yeah. I don't know who you get. I was about to say I don't know who you give it to, but I'm thinking it's probably Alex Hammerstone because he's the new guy. We got a year left, roughly a year left with Josh Alexander. Maybe this is the time where he starts putting some talent over. Not like he hasn't in the past, but right. I know with Deonna Purrazzo's exit, she chose to put talent over. So maybe Josh Alexander might take the same route as he exits next year.
Well, now, granted, though, we did have the whole situation to where he was re-signed, and then it was just they invoked his extension. So,
yeah. So we got Eddie Edwards versus Mike Bailey next, which this match is more of a match of momentum because the system is putting their tag team titles on the line against Speedball Mountain at Rebellion.
Well, Tony Khan accountable. That's funny. Every time I hear Speedball Mountain, all I can think of is Tony Khan. So we've got Santino, John Cena, backstage with Mustafa Ali. So Mustafa was now the cover athlete for Pro Wrestling Illustrated.
Yeah, he was. So, man, this man has been everywhere over the last couple of weeks. I just like what Mustafa Ali is doing. I think it was a great bet for him to be fired from WWE.
Honestly, at this point, yeah, he's really just the next Matt Cardona-ish because he's even said, I saw him put a tweet out earlier today or whatever about how since he started his own campaign or whatever, since like January or whatever, of how he's sold out this venue, how he's been in this show, that company, everything. Like he's really just hit the ground fucking running once he's been outside of the WWE bubble.
Yeah. I think he has like a couple of matches next week and during WrestleMania weekend. Man, it's just busy everywhere. And with that X Division title by his side.
Right. Hooray. Oh, so we're getting Rhino versus Mustafa next week for an old school rules match. I thought that was this week.
So what is a old school rules match?
Sorry. Santino just bought me of old school's match between you two next week. Make it so.
I'm just now seeing it. Isn't that like the Bewitch move?
Genie, no, the Bewitch was the wiggle their nose. You're making me look old up out here. I'm only 35 out here, and you're making me out here, to look like I'm.
I mean, I'm only 5 years, younger, but I didn't. I for some reason I thought that was Bewitched. So Bewitched is the nose. Okay.
Bewitched is the nose, and everything. No, that's the I Dream of Genie. Make it so.
Ah, okay.
Not the Robin Williams. When up, oh no, when up. Well, Santino had them 40 thieves. Got them all had 1,000 tails.
I think that would be a solid match next week. My question was, what is an old school style match? I don't know what that is.
I'm assuming hardcore.
Okay.
There are no rules.
That makes sense.
Right. So we've got Speedball right now taking on Eddie Edwards here. Eddie Edwards just never fucking does it for me. Like, I don't know what it is. I respect the man. I just can't ever get behind the man. Like, he always gives me like early ECW, like sci-fi vibes, everything. Like, I can't do it with him.
I mean, I like Eddie Edwards to an extent. It is, I guess you could say, it's like to like Eddie Edwards. That's like a weird, taste to acquire. I don't.
No, you didn't have.
But I mean, I think he's
like,
okay.
Trust me, I like Yamashita out there in GCW, a Japanese woman that's having death matches without a clone. So,
but I think sometimes there's wrestlers you just really can't get behind, no matter how good or how terrible they might be. And Eddie Edwards is one of them. He's one of them. It's like it's difficult to get behind him.
Fair enough. Well, there is also, I'm stealing this from OSW, Old School Wrestler Review, shout out. But do you have, quote unquote, a boys stable of like wrestlers that you're behind that are not going anywhere, are not going to be world champions, have never been world champions, that no one else is really behind, that you're about them?
Not really.
You don't have any wrestlers that are just kind of jobbers that you're like, I know you're going to lose, but I cheer for you?
Eddie Edwards would be Eddie Edwards would be one.
Thanks for that. I guess Anthony's prediction. Match.
If you want to say Nick Nemeth in WWE,
Zigglypuff,
Ziggler, you can say that too.
Fair enough, but yeah, I guess, folks, if you haven't given us your prediction, let us know who you're taking. And I guess clearly, I don't know if Anthony's taking Eddie Edwards or not taking Eddie Edwards.
Oh, no. If Speedball is in the ring, I'm taking Speedball.
Really? So you're going to go anti-authority, anti-system?
I'm going to go anti-system. I'm a huge fan of Speedball Mike Bailey, so I'm going anti-system. I'm probably wrong, but I'm going anti-system.
I'll give you that. I'm almost like, I feel like respectfully, I'm halfway just burnt out on Speedball. I know, addicts say what, but yeah, I'm just burnt out on seeing Speedball especially over like the past year or so, whether it be Wrestling Evolver, GCW, AEW,
man, is
TNA, like you are in every show that we watch, my guy. Respectfully, I know you're super talented, but I have seen everything I feel you have to offer at this point. Like, I have seen you every way except 7 ways from Sunday here.
No, and that's a fair judgment. I believe like last WrestleMania weekend, I think Speedball like wrestled 7 matches during the entire weekend.
Yeah, we were here watching them.
Yeah, so
that's why I feel that way.
Like, that's a respectable judgment there because he's everywhere. Like you could watch one show and he'd be on the other show. It's like man is wrestling everywhere. So
right.
I understand. I get it.
No, I guess I'll be the outlier and take Eddie Edwards here.
Clearly.
Shout out Paul becoming a member for 4 months. Ooh. Yo, what up, my guy? Kyle's taking Bailey for the win. Damien taking Eddie Edwards for the win. Daniel saying Edwards can wrestle. He has talent. He's got charisma. He's got pizzazz. He's got the look and feel of a mid-carder that TNA tries to push to a higher level than he is.
Yes. He has good. Okay, I was reading that wrong. It says, but he's got the charisma and feel of a mid carder. Okay, because I was like, where does he have the charisma to be a main event talent? But yeah, okay.
He was there. He was there.
He was there. Yeah.
Ooh. Right now, Eddie Edwards in control of Bailey on the outside.
Ooh.
Keyshawn, what up, Stan? There's nothing that sticks out with Eddie. Valid.
Agreed.
He's a good wrestler. And what?
No, exactly. He's a good wrestler. What else does he have? You know?
Right. Mike Bailey, goofy haircut, can roll around a lot, wrestles barefoot. That about sums up old Speedball.
I didn't even know Speedball can talk until, like a couple of months ago. Because all you do
is mute. You thought he was mute?
Exactly. Like all you see is him wrestle. Like, does he talk? And then I'm like watching all of 2022 of Impact. And I'm like, oh, he talked a lot because he was X Division champion.
Every time I see Mike Bailey, I just think Mr. Miyagi, Daniel-san, Karate Kid, wax on, wax off.
Fair comparison.
Half the time he's out here in a fucking headband and everything. Now, granted, we will be here live for when Speedball is taking on Nick Nemeth, I believe, on GCW Bloodsport.
Yes, that's going to be a great match.
That's going to be really to where he can be, karate, and he can be more Jean-Claude Van Damme instead of Daniel's son.
And Bloodsport is next Thursday, I believe it is, right?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
So a week from today, which we will be here live for even the TNA afterwards as well.
Yes. A lot of wrestling going down in the next week and a half.
Oh, yeah. Strap on and strap in, folks. Trust me. It's not a lie. It's not a gimmick. We cover more live wrestling than anybody else out there. And trust me, we're putting ourselves to the fucking test when it comes to this weekend.
Kyle down here is asking, could you see Steph D. Lander beating Jordan Grace at Rebellion? Absolutely not.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
What makes you say no?
I'm just a Jordan Grace fan. I'm being biased. I just love
Fair
Jordan.
enough. Fair. I could agree with you, and I could also disagree with you because I could see it if they want to have D-Lander involved in TNA beyond WrestleMania weekend. If it's not going past then, Jordan Grace wins.
Yeah, in the TNA Knockouts division, we need some knockouts. That's plain and simple. So if she's gonna stick around a little bit, I could see Steph going over on Jordan Grace at Rebellion. I definitely could, but I'm just a Jordan Grace fan. So
can I say this respectfully?
Yeah.
And saying that they need time to build people. You need people that seem like a viable threat to Jordan Grace. And I respectfully, with Danny Luna, with Ash, with Tasha Steeles, with Rosemary with even honestly Jessica Havoc and everything. I feel like that pool is very shallow.
Mm-hmm. No, agreed. There's you couldn't have said it any better. The only viable, and you got to do it right with those women that you just named, is Danny Luna. Like, and I've been stronghold about that, but you got to build Danny Luna up to get to that point. And she's not there yet. She's a great wrestler, but character-wise, you kind of got to build her up. So yeah, I'm in total in agreement with you.
Yeah, well, I think talent-wise, you got to build that up. Do you have a D-Lander work as kind of a big baddie hero for a little bit in that division? Mosh is maybe, especially if Kelly's taken some time off. Mosh is your next top person, I would say, in that division. So they have a really deep division. I just think it's just deep, not towards the top here. There's no peak on that iceberg, really. It's just all below water here.
Right. It's just like having the same conversation. Ooh, that was close. Having the same conversation with Rhea Ripley, like who was going to step up to Rhea Ripley in the women's division if you didn't have Nia Jax or Becky Lynch? Like, I love Liv Morgan, but Liv Morgan, it's not going to happen, right?
I smash you.
Even though it could, but like who would you have step up to Rhea Ripley if some of the big heavy hitters are not there? That's kind of the same with Jordynne Grace. Like, who can step up to Jordynne Grace? No one in that Knockouts division right now.
I would even argue that it would be an easier turnaround in WWE to find somebody that could step up there, because you could always shift an Oscar, you could shift this person, that person, what have you. Like even like a Liv Morgan, she's probably just below that, but she's not too far out of that.
There yet. Yeah.
But I would say that there's a clear divide between Jordynne Grace and
the rest of the Knockouts
division.
Like Jordynne Grace is at the point to where she can compete for the TNA World Championship. That's where Jordynne Grace is, being the Knockouts champion.
She's at the point. Look at the fucking pop she got when she showed up in the Women's Royal Rumble. Yes. She's at a point to where she don't need to be in TNA. Respectfully.
But she's bigger than TNA at this point, and already like there's matches that she wants to have with Natalya and Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. Like this is what this woman wants to do.
Right. Anthony, don't forget so Big Dog out here wanting you to flex them vocal cords out here. Maybe we'll do that with the send off here for the Walker Texas Rangers song. But Daniel out here saying if TNA hires Camille, she take the buff badass role Jordynne Grace left behind, and that's not a bad shout, because Camille seemed initially signed, sealed, and delivered to WWE. If she went to TNA, that could be your swap of respectfully. If I'm WWE, I'll take Jordynne Grace. You can have Camille. There, you can have that. Not even what I'm mad at.
Exactly. I'm there, right there with you.
Right? As Eddie Edwards picks up the win right now. And
that was a really good match.
It was, well, I think I picked up the win. That I made the right prediction there. I think
you did.
missed the boat there.
I was wrong.
Well, it's never go against the system, Mr. Anderson. As we've got PCO, the Canadian Frankenstein, Mr. Freeze out here. PCO. Yeah. PCO. You know what killed the dinosaurs? The same thing. Ice Age.
Looks like he's calling our Khan.
From
Monsters Ball.
Right. Well, I'm going to take a ballroom blitz here, sir, and pause.
Yeah. So we got PCO on the screen calling out Khan for a Monsters Ball match, which I feel like that happened at Rebellion. Jake down here says, "Sup, Nick and Anthony. What if the reign is a tease of an Icon helping Cody?" I'm thinking you're saying an Icon Sting. I think Sting is kind of done altogether with wrestling, especially with WWE. So I think that's kind of over with Sting, to be honest. That's just me though. Dro down here, hopefully I pronounced your name right. Grace in the women's Royal Rumble was a shock. It was definitely a shock. I was there live. If you haven't seen my reaction, it has been put up on this channel. It's also on my TikTok page. I lost every fiber of my mind to see Jordynne Grace at the Royal Rumble, having to stare down with the likes of Natalya, Trinity or Naomi at that time, and Bianca Belair being the one to eliminate her, which we could have a match in the future with Bianca Belair versus Jordynne Grace. So on the TNA screen here, we have Frankie Kazarian talking about the Full Metal Mayhem match he's having with Eric Young at Rebellion. Let's see. I agree. I think it's a matter of time till Jordynne Grace signs with WWE. Absolutely. I think once her TNA contract expires, which I don't know when, she did re-sign last year. TNA has contracts for a year, 2 years, 3 years. You never know, but once she is done with TNA, I feel like WWE is going to be knocking at her door. And I think Jordynne Grace, I'm going to sit here and Google it real quick, but I think Jordynne Grace is still in her 20s. I feel like she's like 25. 28, so I was close. Yeah, she is 28, so she's still young. She has a lot of time left to wrestle. So yeah, I would love to see Jordynne Grace in WWE. FBI next week. Jason down here says FBI next week on TNA. I think I missed that because I was talking. But we got FBI next week on TNA Wrestling. Jason is asking Anthony who there's a lot going on here. Who you want to see join the system? Join with Alicia Edwards in the system. I think that's what you're saying. I actually want to see someone go up against Alicia Edwards on the opposite side, but there's no solid teams right now to go up against the system. So I don't know. I don't really have an answer. So right now we got Top Dollar and Rich Swann. We'll hear from them and Rich Swann's actions of turning against my man Joe Hendry. I'm upset about that. So it seems like they're going to talk for a couple of minutes here. And Rich Swann has this leather jacket on. I don't know. Anthony was so excited to see Jordynne Grace, even his hat man signed for her. Yeah, I was definitely excited to see Jordynne Grace in WWE right after like Naomi returned too. So I think Naomi was like the second entrance, and then you had two more, and then you had Jordynne Grace. You had that nice stare down. I like how commentary just talked about it too. It was a moment to be there to experience live. All right, so I don't know what Flop Dollar is talking about. He's kind of just flopping his gums here. Mana says, I agree. Sting is definitely done being in the ring, but I can see him working behind the scenes. Yeah, I can see him working behind the scenes, but wrestling or being involved in the wrestling aspect like a manager, I just don't see Sting doing that. So I think Sting, if he does anything, is going to be behind the scenes. I don't know what Rich Swann is about to say. Oh, he's about to tell a story. Rich Swann is saying he's a former world champion. Been under a slump for a very long time.
You're not a fan of First Class out here? Sorry, sir.
I don't know what these two are talking about.
A whole lot of nothing.
That's what it sounds like to me.
hey, it's like everybody. Well, I've seen the headlines. I've seen the clickbaits. A former WWE star signs with TNA. Who? Would you count Flop Dollar, who can't even wear a hoodie that covers his fucking t-shirt underneath? As a big guy, I know you need to wear some baggier shit, my guy.
Period. That's big people lifestyle.
Right. As a big guy, literally, I have big in my fucking name. Like, I know you gotta dress for your size. And this man keeps dressing like he's a fucking cruiserweight. Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Swan out here looking like Prince Nana with a flat back.
I don't
with a snapback.
I don't know what he's trying to
Big
do.
pressure I apply. Yeah, flop when I dive. Yeah, flop when I dive.
I don't know what he's trying to do.
I survived. Yeah, I flop when I dive.
I don't like this. I don't like
you're the TNA expert. You're TNA through and through.
Yeah.
How you feeling
about
like AJ Francis signed to TNA?
I don't mind him signing with TNA. I mean, respectfully, I don't think AJ Francis is as big as he thinks he is. Respectfully, if people
he's big from the waist up. That man has no legs. He's out here wearing fucking
as like a character, you know,
and everything.
I don't
wonder
think
you fell over when you dove. You got no fucking legs.
He's banned from diving.
Lieutenant Francis, you ain't got no legs.
I'm not liking this segment at all.
Is it just me, or does Rich Swann sound like R-Truth just if he smoked a
cigarette? Keyshawn, none of us know. None of us know what he's wearing. I'm highly confused, to be honest.
This is Timu. I know I had Timu Tony Storm with Ash by Elegance. This is Timu Hit Row.
I just noticed that he shaved everything. Like Rich Swann shaved everything.
Everything
on his face.
But literally, he's out here. Rich Swann has just become Ashante Diodonis. That's what it is.
Oh no. And did he just say TNA Francis, please? No, God, no.
They're first class. First class up in the sky.
Popping champagne, living the life.
Who in the fucking Ray Phoenix fucking Dragon Lee is this?
Right.
Oh, Spiko Patron.
Okay, so this poses the question now that we got this masked wrestler on here. What's up with the deal with, TNA and AAA? Was it TNA and AAA? I think that signed that.
TNA and AAA, and then you have AEW and CMLL. One was working with one cartel, the other's working with the other cartel.
Yeah, I wonder what's happening with that. They haven't mentioned that since Hard to Kill. We haven't really seen any type of interaction. I don't know why that just came to my attention, but
well, you got that luchador. Is it fucking Kalisto?
I don't know who that is, and I think he said his name at
Laredo Kid. That's I'm literally reading the YouTube chat stream on TNA to figure out that it's Laredo Kid, who actually is talented as shit. He just looks like every junior size lucha. Like if you got Laredo Kid, Dragon Lee, Ray Fenix, they'd all just do the Spider-Man meme and just point at each other. Like, I look like you.
The Spider-Man meme.
Macklin Sabin up next. Yes, that should be your main event. Everybody's saying, well, two people have said something about FBI next week, and I'm like, did I miss this?
They announced it while you were on your pause, but I don't respectfully don't know who FBI is. So I might if I look them up. My
full-blooded Italians, my guy, the good paisans, the originators of everything that Tony D'Angelo's out there doing in NXT. You've got Nunzio. You've got Nunzio. Well, you had Vito. You had Johnny the Bull Stamboli when they did it in WWE. Like, it's always been basically, hey, you want to have a bunch of Italians in a fucking faction, just call it the FBI. It started in ECW and everything. To where you had Tony Mamaluke, you had Nunzio, and I can't remember the third member's name, and then it's just, especially though with it being in the 2300 arena, it's got that callback. But like I said, I know Big Vito, who was in the FBI. I was a huge fan of.
Disappointed that I didn't know that because Big Vito follows me on almost all my platforms.
So. Like I said, I know Big Vito. I've chatted with the guy and everything. Well, and I was a huge fan of Johnny Stamboli, Johnny the Bull there, who actually for a while in TNA was Relic, aka if you spell killer backwards. Oh, that's his gimmick. Yeah, so I was a big fan of, I guess, being Italian and the paisans. You know, was a fan of the FBI, hence why I guess I already got to take Tony to beat Iliad Santa Deliver.
Okay. Man, I feel so bad for not knowing who these people are.
No, it's good. It's good. You can have it. You can have it. See, that's what we do here on Stuff. You know, that's why we're the wrestling channel. You need to be a friend, tell a friend. You need to spread the good gospel of pro wrestling. We are the Wrestling for Life Network. We do this in it for everything and anything when it comes to pro wrestling. Trust me, we're going to be testing the limits here when it comes to next week. But yeah, versus just, oh, you didn't know who it is? No, we're gonna teach you. We're gonna learn you. We're gonna have a discussion about it.
That's what I like about that. Oh, so Xia Brookside versus Ash by Elegance next week, I think they just said.
I feel like you have to enunciate the ash instead of ass. She put the ass in ash.
Ash by Elegance.
I can say it. I'm still saying, I think it was either you or KJ, one of us at least mentioned that she's come out with like the fucking Acme, like, you know, bug spray thing like Rick Martel came out with, of like a perfume of Ash by Elegance. Comes out black looking like suit. Comes out looking like Ash. But so we've got Macklin taking on Sabin right now. So let us know, folks, who you taking, whether you're taking Macklin, whether you're taking Sabin, how you feeling, how you doing on a Thursday night.
I think I said it earlier. I am taking Steve Macklin since this is one of Chris Sabin's last match. It could be actually his last match. So yeah, I'm going with Steve Macklin here.
Could it be that they found their perfect spot of if they're in TNA, of like that they could still always sign back with TNA?
Oh yeah,
come around. What's all around here?
Oh yeah, that TNA is the perfect spot. So if something doesn't work out, they gotta fall back with TNA.
Fast and Furious rolling by me right there. That's I was gonna say that Sabin just fucking hightailing out of TNA apparently. But yeah, no, I think that it works perfectly if they stay there. I think that's where they're synonymous. I don't know if they would be booked better anywhere but there. So that lies a lot of discussion.
Yeah, a lot of discussion there. Obviously, if they go to AEW, they might just be lost in the shuffle. I feel like Triple H could do a little something with them in WWE, but I think they would have to do it right off the bat.
They don't get it. Do they do an NXT run?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
So you're anticipating WWE roster, WWE fans instantly know Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley, Chris A. But I mean, you might know Alex Shelley a bit more because of his brief stint in NXT with
very brief
Kushida.
You know, I didn't think about it like that. So maybe you do a brief stint in NXT. Like, they've been around for so many years, but there's fans of WWE just watch WWE. That's probably a good 75% of their audience. So yeah, you might be right.
But that's why, though, I wonder if you do the big splash moment, you do the fucking pull the Band-Aid off, have them show up because that's what the show is about. Excuse me, in WrestleMania tag team ladder match and everything. You have Motor City Machine Guns. I assume preferably mostly a Philadelphia fan base / pro wrestling fan base for WrestleMania is going to at least know. And holy shit, it's Motor City Machine Guns in WWE. You have them show up and show out. And that's what you use to hopefully try and carry them over and skip that run. Because, yeah, I'm not saying that they don't need that run or that they couldn't use that run. But if we could skip it, I'd prefer to skip it.
Yeah. Well, going to Smile Mark's comment, they knew AJ Styles, they'll know Motor City Machine Guns. How do you feel about that?
That's different levels. Well, speaking of the artist saying NXT, your past doesn't matter, take your ass to the corner for a minute. No, because there's that dance with the devil with that. There's that little tiptoe by the window of AJ Styles was known throughout it. And I know the landscape now, you could say that with Ospreay, you could say that with Okada. So it's a little of that, and that's though you also had some people that felt like when AJ Styles went straight to the main roster that he got lost. You have people that still think AJ Styles is lost. So it's that catch-22. It's that, like I said, it's that tightrope walk. It's that dance with the devil. It's that how much do you want to gamble and how much do you bank on what people will know versus how you can book them, etc.
Yeah. I definitely think it's two different stories. And I would love for them to skip the NXT run, but if you put them on WrestleMania and they don't get the reaction, just hypothetically, nothing's confirmed, y'all. Hypothetically, if they did sign with WWE, you put them at WrestleMania, they don't get that reaction, like an AJ Styles Royal Rumble reaction. You kind of already put yourself in a bad spot. So I think the NXT run might be, they don't have to be there a long time. They don't have to be there a year. They don't have to be there, 2 years, 6 months. Give them the belts, let them run with it, and then, push them up to the main roster. I don't know.
No, that's not a bad shout at all and everything. Like I said, it's all very much, a little dance that you got to do of really seeing, like you said, if they show up at WrestleMania and they get no reaction, oh, that's a big misstep. If they show up and they get even a reaction like Jordan Grace got at the Rumble, all right, so we've got something here to work with.
Right.
And that a little bit of that almost litmus test of, well, Jordan Grace theoretically shouldn't have got any reaction at the Rumble, but she did.
And I was just about to say, and I don't want to take anything away from Jordan Grace's reaction at the Royal Rumble. So I'm saying, with all due respect, a part of that reaction from Jordan Grace was probably from the program she had just had with Trinity, and Trinity being a known star before she joined TNA.
Fair. But would you not say that the Motor City Machine Guns have had an extensive career?
They have.
Like that, like it's on one hand, I see if they went to NXT, either way, I feel like WWE could do a fucking video package of them that's just gonna, have people, throwing babies and, shaking hands and, wiping tears away and everything like that. There's enough that I think that they could build something with that. It's just a matter of, do they do it? Do they jump to the main roster and hope that everybody plays catch up? Or do you have to build it up? Do you have to ingratiate to those who aren't in the IWC? I hate that term.
I hate the IWC term too. I don't know that it's really hard to choose. It's I feel like if you push them to the main roster, they will get that reaction just because of their length in professional wrestling. But on the other side, you just don't know. It's kind of that catch-22.
It's the audience. I think Philadelphia would be your best bet, but again, doing it at WrestleMania, it's not your Philadelphia fan base, it's your global fan base.
Yeah.
As artists saying, as we do have Saban versus Macklin going on right now. So if you haven't given us your prediction, let us know you're taking us. I know we're a little sidetracked, but when my boy Tama Tonga's showing up, they'll do him dirty too, unless he teams with Balor to oust Priest, or we just get a bunch of Samoans. And I know Tama Tonga's, Haku's kid and not Samoan and everything, but what if we just get the extension of the bloodline that all shows up and shows out, that just ultimately just destroys and screws over Cody?
You could have Jacob Fatu or Zillow show up around WrestleMania, right, and just mollywop Cody. I don't know.
It'd be interesting, 100%, and especially I think it's this great. It's the best thing that they've done with their storytelling of, even if The Rock and Roman win, to where every advantage is set up for Roman to win, there's still the belief he could win, and there's still enough of a hope that he doesn't win. That fucking Thanos, that the Code Vengers there of, we get Stone Cold, we get John Cena, we get, if you really hyper focus and superimpose imagery and everything, we get Brock Lesnar that all show up and everything and just take down Roman Reigns and the bloodline. You haven't seen that, to where they were showing the image because we had the trailer that was backstage where Rock and Cody were going at it.
Yeah, you had Stone Cold and John Cena, right?
Right. And then there's this one shot that's hard as shit, to where it looks like a fucking album cover, to where the Reigns coming in, you have Rock just there in the vest, holding the belt, you have Cody down, just all bleeding. And if you superimpose, like if you fucking CSI enhance, you can see Brock Lesnar at the back of one of the, trailers that they have there and everything. So everyone's just conspiracy theory reading into, well, that means he's going to show up there too.
Is that something for real? Like, you can see somebody?
I have seen this.
I have not. So now I have to research this.
You consider yourself blessed.
Now I have to research this.
No, you don't. Don't look into it. You don't want to. Don't go down that rabbit hole.
Like, don't do it. Don't go down the rabbit hole. Don't do it.
I'm Elmer Fudd out here saying, don't do it. Don't do it.
I know a lot of people were even speculating, and I know we're getting off the main event, but they're speculating about the trailer and Stone Cold appearing. I thought that was a bit much. I don't know.
Yep. 100%. I think. Yeah, that's. Is this just become fucking WWE Endgame? And I mean, if it has, fuck it, I'm kind of halfway here for it, and I'll just do all the like the fucking Avengers songs and everything. But I really don't think, like, I want them to go on something that can continue on.
Mm-hmm.
If The Rock or if Stone Cold shows up, if Cena shows up, They're not showing up next week. They're not showing up a month from now. They're not doing any of that. So I'd rather it be a story that's self-contained and that can continue on versus we're relying on callbacks and supporting characters to get a pop.
Right. And the only name you can really give right now that seems like they're going to show up every week is The Rock. It seems like actually The Rock is showing up more than
he shows up on weeks he's not supposed to show up.
Exactly. So, you know, if something is going to continue after WrestleMania, it's definitely going to have The Rock involved. I know a lot of people said he's filming a movie after. I necessarily don't believe that. But
what can I say except you're welcome? He's got to film
exactly
the live action Moana and Moana 2. That's why they were going to do the match in Saudi and they can't.
So yeah, I don't know. The Rock, if you're gonna have a solid story, which I'm agreement with you, yeah, it has to be someone that's gonna show up weekly. And right now it's The Rock. So
well, and that goes back into the full circle here, as I know we're talking over the main event here of Saban and Macklin, but has The Rock just clearly outshadowed Roman in this? I know that's a heavy shadow to be in, but has he just, does Roman feel relevant?
He does not. I can confidently say he does not. I honestly forgot Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns was happening until the face-off last week, because it seems like it's just been about Cody Rhodes and The Rock. And I for him being the champion as long as he has been, this match is, or this build-up is definitely not around Roman Reigns, and it's kind of sad, to be honest.
Yeah, it's really, but that's why I think that there's more layers
to the story,
more options here, that we're not as far in the back end. We're not as much in the end game as we all think we are here.
Right. And I'm with you. I don't think we're in the end game.
I like this. Singing Moana and Bloody and Cody. Where else can we find that? Who has two thumbs is bloody enough you? This guy. Is Sami still a free agent? As far as I know, Sami Callihan's still a free agent here.
Yeah. He hasn't signed anywhere.
Right. Ooh,
that was a 2 count. I thought that was about to be a 3.
I got both men just throwing the bows.
Yep.
Lots of build for night 1, not so much for night 2. Now, I'm a little bit of the mindset. Could the tag match not be on SmackDown and you have the night 1 main event be like the World Championship or something? I'd rather differentiate it that way. I know it's I guess a big ass to get The Rock to wrestle fucking a couple days ahead of time or whatever. But yeah, I'd rather, it's like how when they had the Andre the night before and used SmackDown the go home show as the pre-show.
Yeah.
Have that match be your fucking main event for your go home show into WrestleMania and tell me you aren't moving tapes, you aren't putting butts in seats, you aren't getting people involved there.
No, agreed. You can have one of the biggest ratings nights right there with The Rock wrestling on SmackDown. And he hasn't wrestled on SmackDown in years, I'm assuming. So
it's a show on his namesake too.
Exactly. I think that's a good bet. I think that's a good bet. I've even thought about maybe it's gonna get in the ring. He did. Okay. So I was even thinking maybe you have them open night 1 of WrestleMania. I don't know. No.
No, just I'm going off of from what I've heard of. So night 1 opens Rhea and Becky, because the terrible rules of wrestling, if you're not first, you're last. So if you're not going to main event, you go on first.
Okay.
But that's why even I've heard that night 2 starts off with Seth versus Drew, when I'd rather, even if it is Seth versus Drew, Rhea versus Becky, Bailey versus Io. There's 3 matches right there that I could name that I'd rather see main event night 1 than that. Of, like I said, you pop your ratings, you sell all your last minute buy rates, you get everybody hooked, you build your fucking story throughout that you can sell it throughout a whole weekend. You end Friday Night SmackDown with your show. You have, Christ, if you could do it with JR of the battle lines have been drawn, folks, all hell is going to break loose out here.
Yeah.
And then you build into your pay-per-view and you really sell. I feel like a lot of people at least feel that most of the stories outside of the bloodline have been shortchanged because of the bloodline.
Agreed. And just for you saying, Macklin wins, Bailey and Io Sky potentially main eventing night 1, which I think is a great choice, and I think it really should. Because outside of the bloodline storyline, that's one of the storylines that they've kind of in the past couple of weeks been focusing on a lot. I can definitely see them main eventing night 1. But I agree with you. I would rather see that match on SmackDown, to be honest, the tag match, to end the show in a big. They're already pretty much calling it WrestleMania SmackDown because I think this week is WrestleMania Raw. So yeah, just have it on SmackDown.
Well, and The Rock on his namesake and everything. And I mean, last year we had the tag match between the Usos versus KO and Sammy main event night 1. I don't recall any other match that felt like it should have circumvented or thrown that out of its place. I feel like this tag match between Rock, Roman, Seth, Cody has a lot of matches that are knocking on its door of saying, you sure about that? You sure about that? Are you sure about that?
Yeah, off the top of my head, I don't think there was one match that last year could have storyline wise went on at the main event. Charlotte and Rhea Ripley was a great match for the moment, but they didn't have the best, storyline going into WrestleMania. So this year, like you said, there's a lot of matches that are knocking on that door saying, no, we can be the main event. No, we can be the main event. We can move you guys out the way.
You can have that. Not even what I'm mad at.
Right.
But so that does it for Thursday Night Impact. Matthew saying, of course, Stone Cold will show up for the big 40 Mania. What? Have a couple of Steve Weisers. What? Tequila. What? Whiskey. What?
Yeah, I mean, I can see Stone Cold showing up at WrestleMania 40. I just do I think it's going to be a part of the whole bloodline thing? I don't know.
You had everybody of like, well, Taker's going to show up. Well, Hogan's going to show up, and it turns out that they're just there for the fan event to
WrestleMania World
and everything. It's like, no, you realize like this isn't Tony to where they're just going to be like, cheap pop, you go.
Yeah, and I would rather not see Hulk Hogan. So
Oh yeah, you can have that. Uso versus Uso should open night 1. That's gonna be, I think, that's gonna be a match that's really good in the middle of either night. Whenever they do it, I think, I don't know if I'd end the show on either night with that, but I think that's gonna be that nice little middle of show, change of pace. Holy shit.
No, agreed. It can fit in definitely in the middle of the show. That match is going to be, I don't want to use the word spectacular, but it's going to be hard hitting between those two brothers. And like you said, I think it could go somewhere in the middle.
Right. Well, we'll figure out what's in the middle. As I will remind everybody, we do take a rating for every show as that ends Thursday night, TNA Impact. What is your rating show? I know, like I said, it's becoming the problem here with TNA of we got so much to digest. It becomes halfway halfway TNA.
So we had some solid build towards Rebellion with Alex Hammerstone and Josh Alexander. We had that 8-4-1 match won by Steph. She'll be facing Jordan Grace at Rebellion. We had some pretty decent matches tonight too. Eddie Edwards and Speedball Mike Bailey was good. I I know we were talking a lot through the main event, but from what I can see, the main event was great as well. I'm probably going to go back and watch it. I wouldn't give TNA an 8 tonight. I'm usually an 8 with TNA. But I'm going to give it a 7.5 with the progression of the storylines going into Rebellion.
Oh, okay. Well, you got Kyle here around you with an 8. Artist saying rating for me is 0. Verizon dropped access from my package since the beginning of the year. Well, artist, then you can always watch us, and we always watch it on the YouTubes. It costs I think a whopping $1, make you holler.
99 cents.
On their membership as well. That's how we watch it. You skip all the commercials, you skip all the fluff and stuff. Well, most of it. 8 out of 10. Jason giving it a 7 out of 10. Ash chipped her tooth on yogurt. Pause. So you gave it a 7 out of 10. 7 or 7.5. Definitive number. Where you landed?
7.5.
7.5. Okay, so Damon's right there with you. Oh, I'll give it a 6.5. Not bad, not great, it's that's really I think the first 8-4-1 match that I recall watching, and I think it's a very interesting concept, and I think it's very unique to them. I think they kind of very much clearly out of the gate turn it from a fatal 4-way to a singles match. I almost would have liked it if maybe you do that 1 week and then the next week you have the fatal 4-way. You use that as a build. I don't think it was terrible. I think it's interesting that we had Steph D-Lander out there. We had Matt Cardona show up. We're setting up next week Rhino versus Mustafa Ali. So interesting on the road to Rebellion through the 29300 arena here.
No, agreed. And I think the first 8-4-1 match happened at Against All Odds, I believe, last year, and it was much longer. This one was kind of short. I think the longer version, when they had the longer version last year, you can kind of tell that it was an 8-4-1 match. This one just kind of flew by.
This was an 8-2-1 skip to Malou.
Exactly, because it was like Masha took out Danny Luna, so it really became a triple threat match. And then next thing you know, Steph won. So yeah, it was kind of all over the place.
There you go. Artist, no more memberships. They fleeced us all. I refuse turns on Disney Plus to watch Taylor Swift Eras Tour. Oh, God. And by the way, Godzilla Kong is a fantastic movie. Just came back from it earlier. Well, shut up, my guy. Well, if you're going to sit there and just be dropping memberships, I mean, we got one sitting there ready, willing, and able for you. But absolutely, shut up, my guy. Impact needs more whoa. I'm gonna let you have this one.
I agree. Impact needs
more women.
I think they need more women in the division. We're cycling around the same.
They have 27. Do they need 30, 35?
They don't have 27. But they took a picture.
So I need to start
last week of the Knockouts division, and it seemed a little short. That's all I'm saying.
I think this is of a twofold thing. We talked about this earlier. You need to establish people that seem like a credible threat to Jordan Grace, but also I feel like Jordan Grace is now head, shoulders, knees, and toes above everybody else in that division. So, especially with Deonna left, Naomi left. So now at this point, she's out there. This is LeBron James at, your high school fucking, your bar league basketball fucking association shit.
Yeah. And you can go a little further with it as well. Like, I could say they need more women, but then a lot of the other women wouldn't get focused. And TNA is good at focusing on all of the women in a short period of time. So it's kind of It's kind of up and down there. I think they do a good job. They do a very good job with the women's division. If you add more women, you can put a risk of not showcasing all of them at a given time.
Fair enough, fair enough. Well, Eric saying only 15 ladies in the picture. You want to start going comparison by comparison with companies? I can tell you 15's a high number, I feel.
And they're doing something with all 15 of them. And that's the thing. So that's why it's like a catch-22, because you got so many women on SmackDown and Raw, and some of them they're all somewhat being used, but all are not being used in a good way.
Right.
I guess you can say.
Tyler Tony asking this, and I will, unless you have anything that I feel like that we haven't talked about or anything like that, anything you need to touch base on, I feel like this will probably be the last comment before we head out for the evening.
Not like last week. I don't have anything else. I'm good.
Oh no, come on! You don't got nothing with Goldberg. You don't got Asuka. If I just say Asuka, nothing.
Oh no, I'm good. I'm good. Other
you
than
have that
her talking all week, saying things that annoys me, I don't have anything else. So,
but well, Tyler out here saying, did MJF sign Nick? Well, I didn't sign him, but I guess this is going off of MJF allegedly having meetings with AEW executives, creative, what have you, the week after Big Business, to where it's still he's way out on when he's going to be back. I think we've all talked about it. We weren't expecting him back for a year and everything. Now, granted, there is the theory that maybe he shows up with Cody, but how are you feeling? He's been pulled off of the AEW roster page. How are you feeling on the state of MJF right now?
One question before I answer that question: is MJF currently injured?
Yes,
he is currently injured. Okay.
He left essentially World's End with like one shoulder. I think a couple other injuries, especially around that same arm. Within that, like he was fully much just limping through to get through.
Okay, so MJF, if he resigns with AEW or if he goes to WWE, I feel like Tony Khan has to throw big bucks at MJF. He's done it with other people, but will he do it with MJF? That's the thing. Second thing is, if he goes to WWE, I don't know how much longer WWE is keeping up this edgier content, because it has been edgy over the past couple of weeks. I don't have a problem with it.
They're about to go to Netflix.
Exactly. They're about to go to Netflix. It could potentially be a good fit for MJF going to WWE, with the turn to Netflix, with a little bit of the edgier content. I don't know. I don't know. I fear that Tony Khan is not going to throw the big bucks, surprisingly, at an AEW original. That's my bold prediction.
One of the pillars. I mean, I want to agree with you on as a scarf carrying member here and everything. Trust me, I just whacked myself in the head with my scarf.
Yeah.
As a scarf carrying member, I want to agree with you. Just go ahead, just let it happen. Just let it fail.
Yeah.
It's one of those, if MJF hasn't signed with AEW, which I personally think ultimately he has. I think this was already done beforehand, everything. If he hasn't, it's the greatest blunder of all time in pro wrestling.
Yeah.
And if he shows up at WrestleMania, the Raw after Mania, I again just ask everyone that watches us, that everyone within the sound of my voice, and you especially, sir, have the 9 and the 1 already dialed in your phone, because I will need medical assistance. I will be out here like Red Fox of Elizabeth. If he shows up, I think it's the highly unlikely outcome.
Yeah.
But if it happens, holy shit. That's the nuclear bomb. That is the nuclear option right now, because if I'm Tony Khan, I don't know how I recover from that. We thought it was going to be an issue with CM Punk being on WWE. If MJF goes, what do you do?
Yeah.
Now, if you keep him under contract, can you make it work? Please make it work. He's the best thing going. Make it fucking work. So,
no, I agree. If he signs with WWE, it has to work. Make it work, Triple H. Make it work.
But that like I said, that to me is the nuclear option. That is the how. If you're Hodor on AEW, how do you come back from that?
Right.
I gotta click on that. But folks, I will remind everybody, do you have anything, Anthony, before we pack it in for this evening?
No, I'm good. We can sign off. I'm good.
You gotta go on any old, WCW wrestlers, anything like that. No Goldberg, no nothing.
I'm
like
good.
That.
I got my rant out last week.
But folks, I will remind you, we are the Wrestling for Life Network. We do this for anything and everything when it comes to pro wrestling. We are back at it like a jackrabbit tomorrow night for Friday Night SmackDown. And how does the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, respond? How does the Bloodline respond to now The Rock out there? Is he just one of Roman's henchmen out there getting, the blood on Mama Rhodes' belt here? But absolutely. Be a friend. Tell a friend. Like, share, and subscribe. Nobody covers pro wrestling like we do. Our shit is real. Our shit is raw. Our shit is authentic. When you're talking about the wrestling, you put up with that for life with it. Peace.